Okay, good to have you back. We'll have Dr. Dennis Ekem, is a public affairs analyst that has joined us to look at the newspaper headlines this morning. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you and good morning.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, you look fresh today.
Oh, really? I thank God. It's my first day of the week anyway. Okay, let's look at stories making the rounds at ABS website, please.
On ABS website, we have Anambra government asked to install speed breakers, road signs on Iseke Osumo Road. Anambra government seals off site of collapsed building at Otolonewi. Ndibo urged to promote mother tongue to protect cultural heritage. Wake-up service for late Randy Chima holds today at St. Thomas the Aquinas Church, Oka. And that's the major stories we have on ABS website this morning.
Okay, let's see the ground running. Anambra government seals off site of collapsed building at Otolonewi. It was quite unfortunate to woke up last week to hear about the building collapse, and we are still asking, what do we need to do to avoid this?
Well, it's a very unfortunate incident, and I learned that the ministry went yesterday to inspect the situation on the ground and be able to come up. We pray God to grant the souls of the two people departed through the incidents eternal rest. And this calls for sober reflection on the enforcement of building laws in Anambra State. I think the state government should also speed action so that defaulters or those who fail to comply with the rules will be severely punished, so that others will learn from the punishment and be able to be guided by the guidelines.
This angle is actually important because we've seen several building collapse happen. And this one is happening, I think, just 2 months that we saw one at Ifite, Okahe. How do you think we can speed up these processes to ensure that people who don't comply by the building rules are punished? And then we ensure a sustained system where we see an end to this menace.
Well, the various stakeholders involved in building, the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Builders, Nigerian Society or Institution of Builders, State Surveyors, and surveyors also, these people should now come together, form a team, and then form a synergy so that they will be able to mount surveillance.
And just recently, the state government was talking about taking over any property that the building collapsed there, and some people are crying foul. Why will you take my property when I have a problem to battle with? How do you say that one? If
they fail to comply with the rules and regulations guiding the building buildings, then the state government should take them to court.
That's after investigation to make sure that
take them to court for them to go and answer for non-compliance.
The owners or the engineer in charge?
Both of them.
The state government was talking about confiscating the plots of land.
But the law has to give them the power.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move ahead. Let's look at the papers, please. And the first paper this morning is Daily Sun.
Yes, on Daily Sun we have beside the nameplate there, Biafra, Kano not working for Nigeria, says Uwazurike. Igbo group denies IPOB leader to return home.
No, Des.
Okay, Des IPOB leader to return home. Then the major headline there, as Buhari gives Ojomole marching orders, Governor Amoju hits party chair Lagos cabal, accuses party leaders of fraud over Ogun primaries. How elite religious leaders caught to corruption fights. That's coming from Osibanjo. EFCC arraigns files over alleged 2.7 billion naira fraud. Supreme Court annuls Rivers APC congresses. Ekweremadu set to dump PDP for APC. Those are the major stories on the front page of the Daily Sun this morning.
Okay. Let's first of all look at this other one. Biafra Kano not working for Nigeria, says Uwazurike. Are they not having a good romance?
Well, I think they are best of the same feathers and they need to flock together. Yes, okay, because they are fighting for the same common cause.
The Igbo group daring IPOB leader to return home. What does that mean?
Well, the I think there's a crack. There's a disagreement among the two parties, and problem of leadership, and then problem of supremacy. Who is this and who is that? And by the exit of Kano, surprisingly, puts a lot of questions on both sides, both the Nigerian military, Nigerian security forces, and then the IPOB people also, because there was a time they weren't aware where their leader was.
Okay, let's continue. Governor Amosu hates party share. Lagos has this problem with the APC is still going up as Buhari gives Oshomole marching orders. I think this case is getting serious.
Yes, because the party, Oshomole maintains that he must be guided to maintain party supremacy. And you know that under such tough situation, you are fighting causes that many people may be against you. And then in party politics in Nigeria, the president is the leader of the party, while the major stakeholders in the party are the members of National Assembly, State Assembly, and the governors, because they are the foot soldiers already on the ground that may compel to determine what is happening.
So you think Oshomole's cause is the right one?
You may not say it's the right cause, or it may be a right cause, but the body language, you know, he emerged from the labor unionism, and he applies unionism as part of his strategy, which strategically may not be good for political dispensation.
Do you see Oshomole lasting till February?
Surviving this.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. That he needs that political
will,
manipulation and strategizing to be able to surmount the situation on the ground.
All right, Ekweremadu is set to dump PDP for APC.
It's not a news for me, because each and every one of them that feels that you'll be indicted in one area or the other will look for a greener pasture.
But looking at how far Ekweremadu has been able to stay in the PDP over these years and surmount maybe the challenge.
I don't think that thing is true.
It may not be true, but when you envisage...
Because I spoke with one of the aides, and the guy told me there's not
when
true,
you envisage an action, no matter how you have be able to conquer the other side, and then you foresee futuristically what is going to happen to you, what do?
Okay, let's move ahead. I think it's just a threat. I think it's just a threat for the party to maybe give him what they want.
Exactly.
Okay, let's look at Punch newspaper, please. We'll have to
Punch. We have major stories here. 2018 budget.
Okay,
deficit.
sorry. Daily Times is on the screen.
Okay, Daily Times. Drama suspended Yusuf forcefully enters office. Riot policemen clash with NHIS officials. Fire tear gas at workers. Only Buhari, not governing council, can suspend, remove Yusuf. President Sheridan indicted NHIS boss, PDP alleges. EFCC arraigns Fayose over 6.9 billion fraud as judge remands him in custody. Supreme Court sets aside appeal court's decision on Rivers APC congresses. UNICEF blames politicians for out-of-school children in Nigeria. Oshomole refutes allegations of plans to remove him as APC chair. Economic Summit. Federal government commends Dangote's complementary economic revival efforts. That's the major stories on the Daily Times.
Okay. So let's look at the Kaduna crisis. What exactly is going on? Some people say it's ethnic, some people say it's religious. And I learned that every mortuary in Kaduna is filled with dead bodies.
Yes, the scene is pathetic, because through the social media I was able to view the carnage on the road, and the burnt vehicles and human beings. And
how long are we going to continue this way?
Well, from the situation on the ground as this morning, the military has mobilized, and they have already quelled the situation. But you know, instances of insurgents in this part of Nigeria is that at times it's sporadic from one area to another.
It has lasted for over 1 week, and they kill people on a daily basis. So is it now that the military is coming out? Are there no military base in Kaduna? Kaduna is the home of the military.
That is the issue of chain of command in the military. And it's also called for now what we are now most people are demanding for restructuring, because if the police, if the law enforcement agency is restructured, then the governor of the state will be able to issue order so that action will be carried out.
Okay, let's move ahead for want of time. Let's look at Punch.
On the Punch newspaper this morning, 2018 budget deficit may rise to 4.4 trillion naira reports. Those who feel they have another country free to go, that's coming from Buhari. Oshunpo Tribunal orders in substituted service on INEC and Oyetola. NHIS, policemen tear gas protesting workers, escort executive secretary to office. Major banner headline, the APC post-primary crisis. Amoshun slams Tinubu, Oshoba's anti-Ochumole protests spread. Over 90% of members support me, coming from APC chair. Fayose arraigned, remanded in EFCC custody till Wednesday. Pandemodimas Edo Assembly impeaches Deputy Speaker.
Okay, so let's look at the statement from the president. Those who feel they have another country are free to go. This one is coming from Buhari. Is he replying to Nnamdi Kanu? Because I'm sure a lot of people would like to go. to go.
I still recall one of his statements when he was a military head of state, that we belong to this country and we are not moving anywhere, that all of us are going to stay in this country and salvage it together. Why is he changing his opinion this time?
He's actually, he said that it was the same statement he reinforced yesterday.
Because I have the sticker.
This is the country. Don't you think this is divisive coming at a point like this, at a time like this?
Well, I think it's a press to the world, because I already said it that the emergence of Kalu this time around is a threat to Nigerian security. And then at that particular scene in Israel, where he was praying, I don't think all is well with the security forces in Nigeria, because queries must come out.
I know that Boko Haram insurgents are fighting for the Islamic State of Nigeria. They want up there. I think that somebody has joined us, Dave. And then a whole lot of people, the Niger Delta, a whole lot of the segments of the nation wants to go. So with this statement coming from the president,
then
are we safe?
He may wish to succumb to restructuring, because if you see the imagining candidates in the various political parties, most of them are now supporting restructuring. So out of pressure, he may concede.
Okay.
Hope it won't be an electoral device.
Devices, and that's where I'm going.
Okay,
he's trying to buy in a situation where he's free.
We have a caller now. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Yes, I'm Emeka from Oka.
Emeka, go on.
Yes, I want to contribute on this statement of one.
All right.
I can see frustration in the of that man.
that's what he hinted. That's a hard word.
What can this man do on our social this country? Because I think frustration is the solution to this country.
Okay.
Because that statement is a statement of frustration, which everybody can see. And do you know what?
Yes.
I'm already activated.
What?
Okay. Let's move ahead. Guardian newspaper is the next paper we'll have to look at.
Okay, on the Guardian, it's still the Tinubu and the Amoshun story. How Tinubu Ochoba rigged Ogun primaries by Amoshun. Okay.
Okay.
Police storm NHIS office, tear gas staff reinstate Yusuf. Court remands Fayose, hears bail request tomorrow. That's today. Disregard to rule of law, worse than corruption, says U.S. envoy. Disregard for rule of law, worse than corruption, says U.S. envoy. Soldiers, police invade Kaduna as crisis escalates. Several persons feared killed. That's the stories on the Guardian this morning.
Okay, Okay, let's look at this Fayose case. Court remands Fayose, hears bail request tomorrow. He has been with the EFCC for about how many days now? When they tell us that you're not supposed to detain anybody over 48 hours or 24 hours.
About a week, and I think he was prepared, because if you see, able to visualize what he wore when he was going to hand himself over. to the EFCC that is already prepared, and the rule of law, just like was narrated, must be allowed to prevail.
Okay,
so he quietly and patiently went to the handed over himself to the law enforcement agency.
I see.
Hello.
Hello, this is Malaysia from Enugu.
Malaysia?
From Enugu.
Malaysia in Nigeria.
Go, Malaysia in Enugu. Go on.
So you guys are trying. I want to do the program.
All right.
Okay.
Let me tell you, the way we are praying in this country, especially Igbos, that is the one in the land. What is in the north? So
Malaysia, it seems you come back. Your voice is breaking. Malaysia, please.
I just want to comment on the February comment.
Okay, go on.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is, God is not a small boy, and he's not sleeping.
Okay.
So we are keeping praying until we achieve what we have in mind.
All right. Thank you very much, Malaysia.
Thank you, Malaysia. Thank you.
When you call us, please lower the volume of your TV set so that, yes.
Okay.
So that we won't be hearing ourselves.
Very important, please. Let's look at this one before we go. Disregard for rule of law worse than corruption. And this one is coming from our U.S. envoy.
And
who is he talking to?
He's talking to Nigerians.
Nigerians?
Yes, he's talking to the political elites. And yes, the political elites. And you know, judiciary is always the last hope of common man. And then, by simple elementary government, the judiciary restores the hope of everybody. And if the judiciary gives an order and is not obeyed by the hierarchy or by the executive power, executive arm of the government, then
I think we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So that's what he's saying.
But
indirectly, that constitutional power conferred to the courts, to the judiciary, must be obeyed by the executive, so that the principle of separation of power will be maintained and sustained.
Yes, disregard to the rule of law worse than corruption. Because that is the foundation for corruption.
For corruption.
It's
Okay.
the foundation.
Okay, let's look at the last paper before we go.
The Nation newspaper now. Ochomole, 90% of APC members with me. Police yet to hand over of a robbery suspects. NHIS boss adamant. Government revenue down 40%. Omerua, I had cramp. That's on top of the nameplate there. Balarebe Musa to Nigerians. Don't return PDP to power. EFCC arraigns Fayoche for alleged $1.2 billion and $5 million thefts. Those are the major stories on the Nation newspaper front page this morning.
Okay, let's just look at the banner headline. Balarebe Musa to Nigerians, don't return PDP to power. And I was privileged to read some of the reasons that he was given yesterday, that they were here for 16 years. They did not do anything. And then some people replied him saying, no, that while they were there, we were buying bags of rice, 6,000 something, and then fuel, and a whole lot of things that were better than what we're experiencing now. What do you have to say before we go?
Well, if you view it from political economy approach, and then from the point of view that power belongs to the people, democracy, if you allow democracy to prevail, is the people that will say, the people who bears the pinch of the economic crunch will now determine where they're going, whether there's going to be a change or the old changes should be sustained. That is the status quo. So it's imperative for Nigerians to take decisions.
Okay, let's take this call.
Okay.
Hello.
Before we leave, the last call. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Peter from Onitsha.
You are?
Peter from Onitsha.
Okay, Peter, go on.
Peter, make your contribution.
Please, let's stop deceiving ourselves. Nigeria is 58. The man of 58 is down. We cannot do any other thing again. I always praise Agogo and Shagari that get into two powers, introduce Drotec. China is using Drotec. America is using Drotec. Japan is using Drotec. Why are we deceiving ourselves? What is happening? We are fighting corruption and we are implementing corruption, prostitution, armed robbery, kidnapping. Where are they? Where are we going to? PDP, APC, URCP, and so on and so forth. What is happening?
Okay, but which of the
When
headlines?
our father should direct us to go and buy packaged food, where my father cultivate yam, and sold the yam and load it at the trailer, and then wait at the imported, buy imported year food. It's a very, very shameful thing in Nigeria.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I was about going to ask him, the headline was actually referring to. Okay, but
Balaraba Musa.
Okay, Balaraba Musa comments. Yes. Okay, we'd like to thank you very much for coming. Dr. Dennis Ekem is a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
Okay.
Very nice.
Okay, let's say that's the way it is for newspaper headlines this morning, but you do stand by for our discussion segments.